This is a snapshot of our life and everything we have achieved from our home and garden in the past year. Most of what you will see is in chronological order, from January to December. In a digital world where immediacy and engagement are the currency of success, it has been interesting to withhold everything for a year. With YouTube no longer being the primary income, the aim has been to try to live in the moment more, concentrate fully on tasks, and spend more of our free time as a family. This year, we had a plan that Rebecca would work full-time to fund our projects, while I tackled them. The garden is always an easy place to start, with cutting back hedges and fruit trees before spring. We bought this trailer in the January sales, and it's proved essential in the efficiency of the garden and renovation work. This is the last section of guttering that needed to be changed. It has been dripping outside this wall long before we arrived. It's not perfect, but it works. In an ideal world, we would have started with the roof and worked our way down. But as with everything, we're improvising and doing what time and budget allow. Pointing this little section of wall was not essential, but it makes the connection between the two barns more aesthetically pleasing and offers some structural support. Spring. Blossom arrives and colour starts to fill the garden again. But hungry predators are also on the prowl to feed their young. Given that poor lady was killed and left, this may have been a pine marten who kill for sport. We have learnt not to put fruit peelings out for the chickens, as this attracts them. Last year there was a lot of work on the barn, from pointing the walls, cleaning the algae off the tiles, and also getting specialists to replace the rotten beams. With everything we do, we always try and reuse. So we use the rotten beams to build raised beds and turn the chicken cage into a polytunnel. We filled the beds with excess soil and once again the trailer proved useful. We also added our food scraps, which was very smelly, but it'll be packed full of nutrients for the plants. I also learnt recently we could have filled the bottom with stones to help with drainage, as the soil below can be quite dense and heavy clay in places. Planted out some strawberries from a local nursery. They proved to be a delicious snack. After non-stop rain and wind, I finally secured the polytunnel into the ground. Rebecca planted out the onions. This year was our first attempt at onions. We have to go back in time slightly. At the end of 2023, I began renovating this bedroom into an office space for Rebecca and I. Putting up metal stud walls to hide the defects, but also allow us to further insulate the room and run new electrics. In doing so, we lost all the power in the bedrooms, hallway and bathroom. So we decided to begin rewiring this section of the house. In 2024 we bought the window, which we knew wouldn't fit perfectly as it wasn't made to measure.
That's light.
We spent the whole day putting it in. After plasterboarding and a coat of plaster, I began painting. a cork underlay for warmth, and after battling with the flooring off camera, it was done. We now have a cosy and warm office space to work. Finally, a completed room. After a wet winter, some days in April were still very wet and blustery, but some were also very warm. I created a bigger enclosure for the chickens, and we added an automatic door, which saves us going out to open it every morning and evening.
Really good run, eh? No, look at this runner.
I also created a gate into the vegetable garden. The seedlings were doing well in the polytunnel and needed to be potted on. We always tried to grow a bit of everything, but focused this year on tomatoes, melons, squash and corn.
Oh, wow. Wow.
We love to experiment in the garden. The flavours of your own veg do not compare to what you get in the supermarket. It's also a place where the children can learn about plants, trees, and the food they produce. Seeing the full growth from seed to harvest. It's an education that is becoming rare in the Western world. The peas and broad beans we sowed in early winter were now ready to harvest, and the more hands, the better. At the start of May, we had a new Septic installed, a septic tank. We let them get on with their job. A complicated maze of pipes. Finally, both houses would be connected. It was also the key to allow us to progress with our kitchen and bathroom renovation plans. Another aim for the year was to have the barn completed by the summer, so we could rest, play, and watch the Olympics. In the shade and out of the 30-odd degree afternoon heat. Being so close to the vegetable garden meant we were now able to turn our tomato glut into sauces and cook food fresh from the garden. However, that wasn't the only reason why we did so much cooking outside. In the previous week, I finally condemned the kitchen. A litany of problems in a space I've always hated. Everything we have inherited, including poor pipe management. Only when taking out the cupboards did it reveal the amount of rubbish still hidden left from the previous owners. I do have these impulsive moments where once I start, it's all just gotta go. Even if we will no longer have a sink or a cooker. The mouldy walls, the dodgy British electrics added on, everything had to get stripped back. This wasn't just a mad demolition job. We do have a plan for this space. It will be a pantry room, a cool place to store food, canned and dried goods, a small sink and a washing machine. The other half will be an entrance hallway and a playroom. Hopefully this will be achieved in 2025. The stability of this brick wall after I removed the electrics was not good, and as it's just an internal wall, I took it down along with the very ropey insulation. Eventually we may remove the door here and add a small window for ventilation, as the door's in poor condition and the size is just too awkward and expensive to replace. I've clearly been watching way too many George Clark renovation programs.
George Clark, I mean, there's original features. This is the original barn features. I love it. I love the barn features. Even this bit of wood you can reuse. That's good, isn't it? Good, George.
For now, it's dry, mould-free, and waiting to be tackled next year.
Which way does the sign say?
Oh my goodness me! August is a holiday month for many in France, taking trips with family, relaxing and playing. But, as always, I find it hard to fully switch off, and there are always little jobs to be done. The tomato harvest was never ending. It also gave us a chance to plan our biggest project. We've opened the house up gradually, slowly rewiring the house as we go, but now, with a new fosse installed, we can relocate the kitchen to have a fully open plan living, dining and lounge area, which would have previously have been 3.5 rooms and a hallway. Without much fuss, I started on the small toilet room. However, nothing is completely straightforward, and this room has the old electrics box. We no longer needed it, but it did still power the other house. Rebecca began removing all the breakers while I removed the wires. As the days began to cool in September, we started to prepare for bigger renovations. We removed this beam using Rebecca's ingenious levy device.
Sure? Oh yeah! You clever sausage.
Camera. Is it on
Don't
camera?
believe it, but on camera, it's contacted me here.
We took down 2, cleaned them up and sanded down. There was some woodworm damage. They were still solid, but needed to be treated with several coats before being put in the house. For the past year, we have been sleeping on a mattress in the lounge. One of the bedrooms is now an office because we work from home. The other is the boys' bedroom. There is one room we haven't touched in a few years. It requires its own story as to why that is, but we needed to move in there. After waiting 18 months for a door and then another 6 months sorting out the leaks from the poor fitting, it's just been a well-insulated storage room. I finished insulating the walls and adding the water vapour membrane. In hindsight, we didn't need to change the floor, but we did. We used cork insulation and Thermacell boards on top.
Yes! Up and go.
I was very anxious about doing this, but actually went very smoothly, and now we can move the mattress back in. Plasterboarding can wait until next year.
What are you doing? Why'd you hold on to it?
We hadn't planned on doing this ourselves. We were let down by someone at the last minute. With everything already cleared out, I decided to tackle it myself. A critical part of this rejig is installing a new doorway and blocking off the old hallway to create a kitchen space the other side.
Just want to look out the window there, don't they?
Once we took out the supporting wall, we could fit the beam in place. Above us is an empty attic space, so the beam only has to support the weight of the ceiling. Still, it wasn't going to be an easy job trying to fit the supporting beam into place, and we decided to tackle this job on my birthday of all days. I knew the ceiling was going to have to come down on one side, however I wanted to try and preserve the other. Despite being together for 16 years, this is the first kitchen we have ever ordered. Inheriting lots of kitchens has left us with many opinions, so we knew what we wanted to achieve. Taking advantage of sales, we bought it ahead of schedule. The custom-made replacement window would take longer to arrive. In the meantime, I could begin preparing the electrical cables for all the units, like the microwave. This insulation is to help with the acoustics of the room. As you can see, I've used different types in the build, often buying whatever is on sale at the time. I removed the old ceiling insulation that housed an army of mice over the years. It was too awkward to show, but as winter approached, I replaced it all with 200mm of rock wool insulation. Eventually, an additional layer will be laid on top to assist with any heat loss. Putting up a suspended ceiling required the tripod and concentration. It took a while. With plasterboarding in our bedroom to come, this seemed a no-brainer to purchase. It all went up in no time.
It's easier with a big board, isn't it?
Rebecca mapped out where the island and units would be, while I cut a supporting beam a few millimeters short.
It's too bloody short now.
So you're going to connect the red to a purple wire, and that's going to go down the tube to the switch.
November brought the cold weather and illnesses. Everything became quite bitty. The chilly weather made cooking a chore. Cooking lunch and dinner alone with a remote light as we lost the electrics in here during the rewire in the summer. Here is where I catch up with Robbie from Escape to France Charante.
You can handhold and give advice for when he was pre-Brexit.
Link in the description below. The boxes of new kitchen troll me every time I walk through the door. We've been eating round this tiny pink table that Rebecca has owned for 20 years. It's a little too intimate at times. In previous years, I'll admit it, I stuck my head in the sand when it came to learning about DIY. Most builders make mistakes on other people's houses before they start on their own. Fear of failure, wanting perfection, and the responsibility of feeling I needed to provide whilst the jobs piled up. I now enjoy picking up new skills from watching others on YouTube. Little tips and plastering techniques. I'm still slow, but the more I do, the easier it gets. The beam was in place and I could start wiring in the new wires for the electric radiator and the light switches. It was starting to get very cold, so we decided to get a more efficient electric radiator to go on this wall. Filming constantly and talking to camera at the same time, explaining the process, it's never worked for me. I'm an improviser. I always have been. And like this video, I just make it up as I go along. Somebody tell me, oh.
Nearly there. Window's coming this morning.
Moments after we filmed this, the window arrived, and we could see straight away it was too big. Is it too big? We can either try and use it elsewhere or take a hit, as the supplier has offered to buy it back. We haven't decided what to do yet. Either way, it set us back a little. On the eve of the school holidays, we decided to make our home comfortable again, experience the new layout, and enjoy Christmas together. But there was still one last harvest for the Christmas meal. Thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you next year.